Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hope all is well and everything is all right. All right, let's see. 30. Anybody have any general questions or concerns before we get rolling? Hold on, let me pull up this other thing.
Good morning, Mr. Tucker.
Good
I do
morning.
have a quick question
Mhm.
regarding our homework at this point. Should we be down to like percentage and what is that percentage and commission? Should we be at that point?
Let's see. We did percentage problems using equations
Mm-hmm.
and applications of percent. I believe we did that. Let me look. 10-6. Yeah, we did that last class. Yep, PBA. So we're looking at sales tax and commission today. So that
Okay, so
means 10-6 is where our lecture stopped last class. We're doing 10-7 and 10-8 today.
okay, so
So
that's what our homework should be. We should be there.
now when you say should, I kind of I don't want to say should like that's where I expect you to be. I do expect you to be closing in or being close to that, you know what I mean? So if you're
Okay.
in chapter 10's work, then I feel like
Mm-hmm.
you're in a good place.
Okay,
You
great.
don't necessarily have to be at 10.6 right now, you know what I mean? Because you do
Okay.
have grace and you do have time to get there. But I don't want to project like 10.6 is where you're supposed to be, today, and or you're in a bad place. Now, as long as you're in chapter 10, I feel like you're in a good place.
Okay.
Especially 10-4, 10-5-ish, even if you're not at 10-6 yet, I think you're,
Okay.
you're still in a good spot. If you're still in chapter, what chapter we start in? If you still mess around with 2 and 3, then you're kind of behind because you do want to get because we're about to close out chapter 10 today, and so you don't want to still be in the first test type stuff when we're about to close out and get into a second test. So yeah, yep. Uh, Anything else? Anybody else? Everybody good? Okay, so let's look at 10-7, and don't forget every day is an opportunity for questions. So next class, though, most definitely, the floor will be yours to ask whatever questions you want. Like I just told your classmate, we're closing out chapter 10 today with 10-7 and 10-8. And yeah, because 10-7 is sales tax commission discount and 10-8 should be simple and compound interest. Let's make sure that's that title down here, simple and compound interest. Yep. So remember, I was using this coming out of another book. And this should be 10-7 for you guys. Same title, but it's 10-7. And so next class, the floor will be open for you guys to ask whatever question you want to ask. Um, your test 2. Let's look at this real quick. Yes, I did post test 2 already, so you do have access to test 2. So, it's not proctored, so you'll be able to do it on your own, just like you did test 1. Don't forget to shoot me your scratch work, copy, whether you take a picture of it, scan it, or whatever. Make sure you email me your scratch work for your test, not for your homework, but just for your test once you take your test. And yeah, was that a question? I see unmute. Okay. All right. Guess not. That's fine. So let's look at 10.7 sales tax commission and discount. It says, what is the sales tax on a jacket priced at $425 if the sales tax rate is 6%? All right. So what is the sales tax on the jacket price at 425 if the sales tax rate is 6%? So you see in the purple, we have our equation set up. First of all, we want to calculate the sales tax. It's going to be your tax rate times your original price. So our tax rate is 6%. So don't forget to convert that to a decimal before you do your calculations. That's 0.06. Now, also, I don't think this asks for the sales price, but just throwing that out there because there may be a problem that will ask for it. If you want to calculate your sales price, you take the sales tax that you just calculated and add it to your original price. So those are the two equations or formulas that you would use in order to calculate with sales tax. First, you would calculate your sales tax by taking your tax rate, multiply it times your original price, then take that result and add it to your original price, and that will give you your sales price. I'll scroll up to give you a chance to write. Now, yeah. Now this one says, what is the sales tax? So all it asked for was the sales tax, but I went ahead and calculated the sales price so that just in case you run across a problem that asks you for the sales price, you have an example of that as well. So calculate the sales tax. Once again, you take that 0.06, your tax rate, multiply it times your original price, which is 425, and your sales tax will be 25.50. All right. Any problem with that? And then to find your sales price, take that 25.50, add it to the 425, which is 450.50. You know, things like this, some of you may already be okay with because you calculate your stuff at Walmart or Target or whatever the case may be. So. All right, can I scroll up? All right. Next one, we look at commission rate. Joe's commission rate is 24%. What is the commission from the sale? I could have wrote that out. Commission from the sale at 16,500 of 16,500 worth of windows. $1,600, $16,500 worth of windows. Yeah. All right. So commission would be the commission rate times the sale price, very similar to sales tax. It's the rate times the sale price. So that's 0.24. Once again, your percentage converted to a decimal, 0.24 times 16,500, and that'll give you 3,960. So that would be your commission earned. All right. Everybody okay to scroll up?
No, I'm still writing down the question.
Okay. Let me know when you finish. Okay, cool. All right. Next one. All right. So just another sales tax one. I think I saw an example that was okay, it puts you in a position to solve. So it's going back to your sales tax. Somebody says something. Oh wow. Okay, not a problem. Not a problem at all. Thanks for letting me know. All right, so the sales tax is $50 on the purchase of a dining room set for 1,250. Find the sales tax rate. So this one puts you in a position to, they want you to find the actual tax rate, and the other ones gave you the tax rate. So that's why I went back and did a problem like this with your sales tax. So we go back to the formula, sales tax equal the tax rate times the original price, and we put in the pieces that we have. And then of course the unknown as well. So our sales tax, they tell us is $50. Our tax rate is unknown, so that's why I put an X there for a variable, the unknown. And the original price was $12.50. All right, so we have 50 equal to 1250x. And now to solve for x, we divide both sides by 1250. And that'll be 0.04 or 4%, depends on how they want it. My math lab let you know how they want that actual answer. So. All right, any questions before we go to the next one? Make sure we're okay. All right, can I scroll up? All right, so I know I think in my math lab, I saw a problem like this. It says find the missing values. They give you the mark price and then the discount or the rate of discount. And then they want to figure out what is the discount and then what is the sales price. So those are your formulas or equations for your discount. So your discount amount is your original price times the discount rate. Very similar to the ones we've already dealt with. And then the sales price, they're just labeled different. But the sales price would be your original price minus the discount amount. All right. So normally the original price, well, mark price and original price are the same thing. So when we go down here and we want to find that discount amount, this part right here, Just do 1920 times that 0.25, so that's 480. And then the sales price, 1920 minus 480 is 1440.
Could you scroll back up just a little bit?
Is that enough? I don't know how far you want to go up. Mhm. Let me know when we can scroll up. Okay, cool. All right, so let me know when you finish. You guys are finished with this. So those are the formulas that you use in 10.7. Once again, going back, I didn't mention this. Don't forget that you have a test review in front of each one of your tests. They're not mandatory, but remember you score 85 or better, I'll add 5 points to your test. If you don't do them, that's fine. I don't hold it against you, but you at least should take a look at them to see if there's something up there that you want me to discuss or do, show you how to do before you actually take the test, or at least streamline your studies by looking at that test review. Like I said, you don't have to do the test review, but like I said, you should at least go in there and check it out. That way, next class, you know if there are certain problems you just want me to do. Whether you made an attempt or not, next class, I will open the floor first for you to ask whatever questions you want. If you fill the class up with questions, then that's fine as well. But just letting you know the floor is open. So just reiterating that. Is everybody good all the way up to the purple before we go to 10.8? All right. All right, so simple interest and compound interest. So we have formulas some more formulas. The other ones really more so like equations and relationships, but here we have some formulas that we will be plugging in for. I is equal to PRT, simple interest formula, where I represents your interest earned, P is your principal or deposit, R is your rate. Don't forget to convert it to decimal, and T is going to be in years. That's going to be our time in years. All right, I'll scroll up. So when it comes to years, your time is in years. So you want to be careful. So because if it's not in years, you do have to convert it. And so the way you will convert will be based on the measurement that you're in and comparing it to years. So in other words, if I had 24 months, I know there's 12 months in a year. That's how we get 2 years, because you're taking 24 and dividing it by 12. So the same, excuse me, in the same fashion, if I had 13 months, I will put that 13 over 12, and that would be the number of years that I have. So if I have 37 weeks, I place that 37 over 52 because there are 52 weeks in a year. And then, but when it comes to days, if I had 137 days, I will put that 137 over 360. And that's because of what they call banker's rule. where you would use 360 instead of 365. So I've heard, one rationale said that there are 5 major holidays in the year. That's why they take off 5 days. Then I heard one rationale that said that 360 is just an easier calculation. But whatever the case may be, if you do days, then you have to use 360 instead of 365. Okay. Questions on the time converting it to years?
Yeah, give me a second before you scroll up,
Mm-hmm.
please.
Mm-hmm. Not a problem. All right. Are we good to go? Are they all right? All right. So let's look at first example. Find the simple interest after 2 years on a $500 at an interest rate of 12%. So whenever doing a word problem, you always want to write down the given information first, given piece of information first. So we have we want to find the simple interest. So we're just talking about I. We want to find I after 2 years. So make sure I can scroll up. Everybody good. So our deposit is $500, or our principal is $500. The rate is 12%. Convert that to a decimal of 0.12, and our time T is 2 years. So once you have PRT, if you're just trying to find I, you just go ahead and multiply those three things together. 500 times 0.12 times 2 give you 120. So that's the interest that you would earn on $500 with 12% interest after 2 years. Any questions? Make sure we're okay.
Give me 1 second to keep copying it.
Yep, not a problem.
All right, I'm good. Thank you.
Not a problem. Thank you, sir. Let me know. Next one, college graduate, borrow 2,400 at 10% simple interest for 8 months. To buy a used car, find the simple interest he paid. All right. So we're going to find the simple interest he paid. So first of all, once again, go ahead and establish the pieces of information that you do have so you can calculate what you don't. P is at 2,400. R is 10%. So convert that to a decimal, it'll be 0.1. Remember, just moving the decimal 2 places to the left. And then it's 8 months. We want to convert that to a year. There are 12 months in a year. So we put the 8 over 12. And if you want, you can go ahead and reduce that to 2/3. All right. Once you have P, R, and T, you go ahead and plug them in. Just want to make sure everybody's done copying it black. But 2,400 times 0.1 times 2/3 will give you 160. Be careful with the 2/3. If you're gonna use your calculator, then make sure you obviously how can I say it, plug it in its truest form. 2/3 is 0.6 repeated. So that's a decimal. So what you don't want to do is use 0.67 or something like that. You will not get 160. So, you can do 2 divided by 3, get your 0.66 repeated, then multiply times 2,400, multiply times 0.1. But what I'm saying is you don't want to round that because you won't get your full 160. So just be careful with fractions that are run on decimals when to multiply them, in their truest form.
So for this problem right here, we would multiply the 2,400 times the 0.1 and then turn that into a decimal to multiply this other thing by, and then what, like, how do we get this 160?
Well, if you do it right, you wouldn't have to do anything but multiply. Now, if you're doing it by hand, the 3 divides into 2,400 and leaves you with 800. You see what I'm saying? So if you're doing it by hand, that's how you would do it. But if you're doing it by calculator, you would go 2 divided by 3, which will give you your 0.6 repeated. You see what I'm saying? But what you don't want to do is take that 0.6 repeated and turn it into 0.67.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? If you leave it as 0.6 repeated and then multiply it times 0.1, multiply by 2,400, you'll get this answer. Using your calculator. But like I said, what you don't want to do is say, oh, it's 2/3. I see it's 0.6 repeated, and then I go 0.667. You still won't get 160 because that's not the real answer. You know what I mean? Or the real representation of that fraction. So I was just, trying to warn, trying to guard against certain things that could happen because I know a lot of people would do that with no problems. But yeah. All right, everybody good with that before we go to the next one? All right, this next one says find the total amount paid for the loan. And the way we'll do total amount is A is going to be equal to P plus I. And so we leaning on the last problem. It's just a continuation of the last problem. Should have wrote something up to that, but anyways, continuation from the last problem. Probably should continue or something. All right, so the way we calculate the total amount, that's just your principal plus the interest. In other words, your original amount plus the interest earned. And that represented by a variable is A. Total amount or future value is A. So you just take that principal, P 2,400 plus I 160, and we will have 2,560. All right. Any questions? Any questions? All right, so the next one is compound interest is a new formula, a different formula, I should say. And when we talk about compound interest versus simple interest doesn't have these compounding periods. In other words, compounding periods. In other words, where the interest is applied. So you can have with the compound interest different amounts of times throughout the year that the interest is applied to your principal. So this formula right here, A equal to P times 1 plus R over N raised to the N times T power. So that is an exponent. N times T is an exponent. So you will need to know how to use your calculator. If you have any questions or issues with using your calculator, make sure you get with me. So we can make sure you're straight, but you will need to know how to use your calculator for compound interest. And so here's what APRT and N represent. PRT is what we dealt with before. I just mentioned total amount or future value. It's also called future value. I think your book calls it total amount. And then N is the number of compounding periods per year. All right, let me scroll up. So now when it comes to N, they'll give you keywords that let you know what N is going to represent numerically. So annually means that N is going to be equal to 1. That's the number of compounding periods per year. So if it only happens annually, it only happens once a year. Semi-annually, N is 2. Quarterly, N is 4. Monthly, N is 12. Weekly, N is 52. And then daily, N is 360. All right. Scroll up. All right. So $1,800 is invested at 2% interest compounded annually. Find the total amount after 3 years. All right. So establish your given pieces first. So P is 1,800. R is 2%. Convert that to a decimal. That's 0.02. T is 3 because it's 3 years. And then N annually is equal to 1. All right. So once you have all 4 pieces, plug it into the formula. So it's P times 1 plus R over N not times, but R over N raised to the N times T power. So you plug it in accordingly. Notice that P is 1800, R 0.02 over N, which is 1. And then it's raised. Now in the calculator, if you don't have a box, like this, a button like that, I mean, wherein it has a box with a box raised to the power, then you should have this symbol right here, which is your hat or caret, and that raises anything that follows to the exponent. So you can write it in the calculator just like this, and that will give you the answer. So once again, make sure you know how to get this answer. If you do not, make sure you bring a calculator, so that we can, try to figure out how your calculator works. And everybody's calculator may be different. So, but if you have the ability to put parentheses in the calculator screen, then you can do stuff like this and just put it like that. You don't have to do any order of operations or anything. All right. Questions on that one before we do another one? All right, next one, $4,000 is invested at 5.3% compounded quarterly for 10 years. Find the total amount at the end of 10 years. All right, so given pieces of information, we had 4,000 for P, 5.3%, which is 0.053, 10 years for T, and then N is quarterly. So it means N is equal to 4. All right.
Give me 1 second.
Okay.
All right,
All right. So once you have your pieces, you can go ahead and plug it into the equation. So once again, P times 1 plus R over N raised to the N times T power. P is 4,000, R 0.053 divided by 4, and then 4 times 10 in your exponent. So that's 6772.12. So that's how much money you will earn after 10 years. Or that's how much money will be in your account after 10 years. All right. Oh, is that it? Okay. Let me check one thing, make sure it wasn't something else I was looking for. but this one may have left it out. So I just want to be sure before we close out today. Quarterly, annually, semi-annually. Okay, so you don't have a continuous. Okay, so this is all we need. Okay, cool. All right, so that's it as far as what they asked for you, as far as simple interest and compound interest is concerned. Questions on anything that we've done up to this point? Everybody good? Everybody straight?
Questions, but could you scroll back up to the part where you were writing down like the ends and what they mean, like quarterly stuff? Yeah, this right here.
Not a
Thank you.
problem. Yeah, not a problem. So, take time out, let her finish copying that. But if you don't have anything else for me, you don't have to stay on. That's it for the lecture. Like I said, next class, open up the floor. The floor will be open for you guys to ask whatever it is that you want to ask, even if it's from chapter 2, chapter 3. Anything up to this point that we've covered from these first 2 tests requirements, the floor will be open for you to ask. And when he asks you where you got it from, just go ahead and answer the question and go ahead and knock it out. Make sure you have clarity before we move on. So is everybody good? Everybody straight? I see something in the chat. Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Okay, so if you're good, I'm good. For those who are still copying, feel free to copy. If not, I will see you on next class. Hopefully, you guys will have questions for me.
I got a question for you.
Yes, sir. What you got?
But this is about the calculator.
Okay.
Remember we had a conversation about the calculators before. You was like, man, just go get. I wouldn't advise going to get like the crazy one, but so I didn't get it yet. I'm going to get it like right now, right? And are we going to be able to go over how to use them if I can't figure it out on my own?
I would not do that for a class thing. I would do that for an individual. So, after that class, then I would talk to you because everybody might have a different calculator. So I would take time out for individual, and do it, individually and go for it. So yeah, so once you get that calculator, me and you can set up a time, or if there's time after that class, because after classes I may have to run to another class, but if there's time after that class, we end early, whatever, then we can go ahead and hash it out after class. If not, we just have to set up a time, see what your schedule look like, see what mine look like, and then we'll just make sure you're straight on your calculator. Because who knows how much time it would actually take to make sure you're good, but we want to make sure that you are straight.
And you did say something about.
Not a problem. Take care. Yes, sir.
You did say something about the test. You made test 2 available. So test 1 is the one that was on sections 2 and 3. And then test 2 is what we're doing right now.
Yes, chapter 10. And so oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking before I let you go on that calculator piece. Make sure you get, first of all, make sure it's a scientific calculator. I think we talked about that before.
What kind of calculator so I can write this down?
I just wrote it down.
Scientific? Okay, hold up.
And then you want to make sure that it's the type of calculator that you can type in, you can put the parentheses if you want to put 5 plus 7 minus 8. Yep, no problem. You know what I mean? Make sure you can put the parentheses in there in your screen, because those are the best ones to be able to, so you can line stuff up and just hit enter versus having to do stuff in order and stuff like that. You want to be able to put those parentheses in the screen of your calculator.
Okay. All right. When we could just enter in an equation and the calculator would do the math for us.
Now, yeah, well, yeah. Now, not if you're talking about solving. Now, if you have to put X in there and you have to solve for X, you can't do that. Not for most of them, but I'm talking about just a regular scientific calculator. If you have to solve,
which one does all of it? Because I want to buy that one. I want to be able to put it.
Now that right there, you have to look for something like that. I'm not sure what one does that. I know just a regular scientific calculator does pretty much majority of everything that you need. But if you talk about solving an equation, that's more of a calculator that has an application in there. You know what I mean? If it's going to do stuff like that.
Right.
Most of the time, those are actually apps themselves that you have to pay for.
So is that cheating?
Yeah, to some degree, because you know we're trying to teach you the process. Because that's why some teachers. Well, I know me. What I'm trying to do is teach you the process. Because I know there will be some teachers who won't let you use a calculator at all. You know what I'm saying? So I do want to make sure that you have a solid foundation, so that when you go to the next teacher, that you know you won't come up short. So yeah. So going that far to have a calculator that'll solve it for you, I think that's more extreme. You know what I'm saying? Than what you actually need. You know what I mean?
Understood. I got you. I'm picking up exactly what you're putting down.
Yeah. Now, yeah, Casio scientific calculator is fine. And he said due date. I haven't put a due date. Let me think about that, and I'll give you a due date next class on chapter 10's content. Because I think we already talked about a due date for chapter 1's. It should be the 19th, whatever we said.
Yeah, the 19th of this month.
Yeah, it's due Sunday, right? Yeah, it's due Sunday tonight.
Yeah, so we'll come back next class and we'll put a date on chapter 10 stuff. Since a lot of people are gone, no rush. Well, you asked. Anything else? Well, anybody else before we close?
I appreciate you. Thank you very much, brother.
Not a problem. You have a good one, man.
Yeah, be safe out there.
All right, same thing, same to you. All right, everybody, take care. Oh, Miss Wilhelmine, you good? All right. So, oh, are you unmuting? Did you have something? I don't hear anything from you if you're saying anything. Oh, okay, no, you're good. Okay, all right, take care. Have a good one.